Are we going? Am I live? All right, everybody. Whoa, that's really loud. Sorry. Everyone, cease your conversation and come to the stage now. Um, no, but welcome, everybody, to the 2025 Gear Show. This is our final panel of the night here. This Gear Show is, the one place where it's socially acceptable to drool over lights, cameras, and raising canes all in the same room. This panel, we're kind of got some people up here that are going to talk, well, about a lot of stuff, but I wanted production professionals, and I've actually been on set or worked with some of you guys here in some capacity at some point, and I think we're in for an exciting panel here. My name is Max, Max Groh. I am the studio host here at OHD, and I have the pleasure of moderating y'all on this panel. I don't do a lot in moderation, so this will be new for all of us. We're talking gear. Let's talk gear. That's what the panel's called. We got an all-star lineup here of production professionals. Whether you're seasoned pro, a tech junkie, or you're just here for the popcorn, stick around because we're going to dive deep into the latest and greatest production technology. Before we even get started, though, we should let you guys introduce yourselves. We're going to start over here on the end, and let's just go down the line. Tell us who you are, what you do, and something you've been working on recently.
Awesome, awesome. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. I am Brandon Minyara, and I am a video engineer slash director of photography in this space. I've been fortunate to be in this industry for about 10 years, and it's been really great run so far. A recent project that I've done that was really enjoyable for me was the Arnold Classic. I really enjoy when the Arnold Classic comes to Columbus. I've had the opportunity to do the pay-per-view broadcast with them. So for them, I really do the engineering component. I help them really get all the setup and screen destinations aligned and set up and put together. And then I also run the stream for them as well. And if you know anything about muscle heads, they're pretty intense when it comes to the Arnold Classic. So just being around a group of people that are jacked and ready to go, and like it's real business for them. It's a different crowd. They take everything very serious, and it's kind of electric being in that environment with them. And I love Ohio. That's one of our biggest projects in Ohio. Brings a lot of revenue to Ohio, so I love seeing Ohio succeed. I'm a big Ohio guy. I do a lot of work in a lot of different places, but at the end of the day, my desire is for the industry in Ohio to be successful because we have great professionals here. It's not just Vegas, it's not just California or New York, but Ohio, baby. We got it going on.
Did you get to meet the big guy himself?
Oh yeah, so I get a chance to set up his personal camera. So most times, I follow him around. He's very intimidating, actually. So this year I was a little bit more dangerous. I did a lot of walk-ups to him. Because I was very dedicated to get the Arnold shot. I was like, I gotta get to the Terminator. He's very chill. He respects professionals. Like the whole environment around him is very professional. And he was very welcoming and opening to people getting close to him and getting those specific shots. So I snuck a couple quick ones, and they made it to the big screen, so I was really proud of that.
Well, Brandon, thanks for coming today. Glad to have you, buddy.
My pleasure, brother.
Hey, my name is TJ Boster. I am a Jib owner op at Jib Motion. Mostly live in live event, sport, concerts. So we have two Jibs. Kind of run around all over the country, mostly in, again, esports, things of that nature. And the most, I think, exciting thing I've done this year, we did the president inauguration. So we took two Jibs, Steadicam down, and we got to do that crazy
President of what?
show. Say again?
President of what?
I'm not answering that one. I'm not touching that one.
Was that nuts, though?
It was an event. I'll say that. Ask Sean, he was there.
Yeah, there's probably a whole city worth of production professionals there working, right?
Yeah. It's like 6 productions at once, all arguing with each other while we stood there going, where do you want us? Where are we going? So, but we got it going, got some cool shots, and so it was fun.
Awesome. Thanks for coming, TJ.
Hello, I am Josh. I'm a video guy, DP, producer. I've made a couple music videos over the years, some brand storytelling stuff, documentaries. I was hoping that the prompter would tell me what to say, but it isn't. My
You want to do my line?
my business is JCP, and we've been at it for like a little over 10 years. And I'd say, from a fun standpoint, 2024 sucked. There's just nothing. It was not fun work. And I feel like I've been doing over the last 8 months just kind of rediscovery of like, hey, I'd like to enjoy doing this work again. And a lot of that comes from working with people. So while we have a lot of projects that are like music videos and short films and stuff that we're working on, the fun stuff for me is really working with my friends. So the last 8 months has been kind of getting back to like, what is it that makes me excited about this work? And I'm really happy with what this era is. My bank account doesn't quite reflect it yet, but the work we're making, I feel really proud of and really excited about. And I feel like we're like relaying the groundwork for what's next.
I'm so glad you're here today. We work with Josh a lot. Apparently, he's been on every panel we've ever done, is what we determined today. So I always love hearing what you have to say. I'm glad you're here today. Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate you.
Let's go on to the cool side of the room here. Yeah, you can start. What's your name?
My name is Josh Nowak. We have a sort of a Josh sandwich, I guess, here. Max is the cream.
I'm
Max
the
is
cream of the
cream.
Josh
That's right.
sandwich. Things are
Josh
getting a little
cookies.
racy the last panel of the day.
I'm a freelance cinematographer. What was the question? Like, cool stuff you've worked on? Sorry.
Tell us who you are,
Okay.
what you do, and something you've been working on recently.
Let's see here.
See if you can get
Did
some
you ask
cooler
about
than the
gear, too?
Arnold or the
Okay, yeah.
inauguration.
This wasn't a super recent thing, but Vince and I shot one shot in a Super Bowl commercial for Hims. We shot 103 takes, a 10-hour day. Vince you were key grip on that with me. That was fun. That was pretty cool.
A climatic shot.
Yeah, I like played during the Super Bowl. It was like kind of fun. But yeah, I shot a thing for Nationwide and some black and white stuff for YWCA. So lots
wait,
of stuff.
You guys got hired to do a shot? Was it just they used one shot, or you just did one? You got hired to do a
One
shot?
shot. So they were originally production was out of San Francisco. They were going to bring a 40-person union crew in from New York, and the client was like, "No way, we're not paying for that." So yeah, then they hired us. I guess we're the B team, I guess. But we did it. It was fun.
Yeah.
But you're captain of the B team.
We are captain of the B
Josh.
team.
If you watch the commercial, like 50% of the commercial is stock footage anyway. So like our one shot was like a good amount of the original content in that commercial. So
Yeah.
Well,
it's
Josh,
true.
I'm glad you're here and making the Josh sandwich. And while you're talking, why don't we go ahead and move on to you, sir?
Hi, I'm Vince Restivo. I'm the in-house gaffer here at OHD Studios. I love my job here, and I love playing with gear. So I'm happy to be on this panel. I guess I interesting shoot that I was on recently. In addition to the Super Bowl commercial that I did with Josh, which was amazing, I did get to work on the Arnold this year and got to shoot Arnold. I was very impressed, like, because we were at a booth for Zimmer Biomet, and they make like hip replacements. They actually did Arnold's hip replacement. Pretty cool. But his whole like security team came over. They had the bomb sniffing dog. He literally had like 40 dudes around him while he was out on the Arnold floor. So that was kind of, I've been with, political figures, and Arnold seemed to have way more security than most of them. So that was pretty cool.
Well, thanks for coming out. Vince was originally going to moderate this panel, but I felt that he would have much more to add as a member on the panel because I don't know a lot about gear, which is why I'm up here moderating. Let's move on. Last but not least.
Hi, I'm Heather Glass Oaks, and I'm a production designer, art director, and I do props in town, and I know nothing about most of the gear. So, but I'm up here, and this is the first time I've been on a panel. Actually, this is my first gear show.
What?
I know.
Congratulations.
I don't usually come because it's called a gear show, and I don't
Heather, I would
know
argue
that much. I mean, I know a little bit.
you have a impressive arsenal of gear that you use.
True that.
It It has always
of
impressed me
different types
the
of tape.
management of like all of the tools that you do to make your job
Yes.
happen. So like
Yes.
it is gear. It's maybe not a camera or a light, but it is definitely gear.
Yeah.
experience.
This is such a good
what's up.
segue to what I want to talk about next.
would
That
love to
it's
hear your
like we put
segue.
it on the prompter.
Okay.
It actually
Ah.
isn't on the prompter, even though we have one. But
You got the clicker, bro.
as a non-gear person, all the new gear at Gear Show is awesome. It's cool to see the latest and greatest advancements in camera, lights, gear, all the stuff that I don't understand. If it needs a firmware update, I don't even really know what firmware is. So I'd like to start off talking about the old school, like unsung heroes of gear on set, like the simple like things that have saved your butt more times than you can count. Like I'm talking about the kind of gear that isn't flashy, doesn't require that firmware update, but if it went missing, like it would be chaotic. Like I personally have not been on a set in any position where someone hasn't asked me for a pair of scissors. And that's just two inclined planes and a lever. That's Simple Machines. That's old school as you get gear. And so I think that type of gear is just as important, if not more so, than the fancy, like flashy new gear that we've all been talking about and we'll talk about later. But I'd like to hear from each of you. I'd like to hear from each of you what maybe is your favorite piece of old school gear, something you use that isn't like the newest, greatest, latest thing, something you always have on set.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, big thing that I can't live without is gaff tape and sandbags. So honest to God, if I have some gaff tape and sandbags, we're gonna make this work. Something's gonna happen, and we're gonna jimmy rig it together because we got enough gaff tape and sandbag to make it happen.
I've seen a tripod made out of gaff
Exactly.
and sandbags.
I mean, I don't know where we would be without gaff tape or sandbags. That's just my honest opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to echo on that because it's gaff tape, but then zip ties always come in handy, and extra carabiners can always be used to leverage some stuff.
I use zip ties as a belt sometimes.
Been there.
I would say for me, plastic, just having simple plastic to be able to take care of windows and to be able to like soften diffusion. That's always been one of our things that we've used a lot of the time just to kind of control light. You know, you can double that up, make tons of layers, but you know, the painting guy in me very much goes back to my days at Lowe's where I'm like, hey, like this painter's plastic is super useful for so many reasons.
Like, as a horror movie guy, I've used that many times to kill people on. In movies. So, what about on the cool side? You guys got
Cool
some gear?
side. Let's see. I mean, a C-stand's pretty profound device if you really think about it. Whoever engineered that, I'm not really sure, Mr. Stand or something. But just like, you know, if you keep the knuckles on the right, it tightens if the thing falls, and it collapses and folds away. It reaches 10 and a half feet high or whatever, 11. It's kind of like a thing we take for granted, I think, a lot, but it's like an amazing tool. It can be a tripod if you like want to shitty rigs it up. Oh, can we? Oh, okay. Whoops.
Maybe not.
Sorry
Maybe
about
don't
that.
say shit.
Okay. We have a late hour. Good.
No
Vince's turn.
You know what though? You're absolutely. C-stand is one of the oldest pieces of like necessary gear on set. It really is the Swiss Army knife of any
100
movie set.
uses.
They call it a century
Stand.
'cause it
And
has
it'll last you
100
100
uses.
years.
Mm.
If you treat it right.
I did know that. I said I didn't know anything about gear, but look at that.
Look
No,
at you.
it's not on the prompter.
I was gonna say C-stand too, but since you already took that and sandbags taken as well, I'm gonna go with a good multi-tool. Just like some folding pliers. I'm a Leatherman fan myself, but like if I have my Leatherman in my pocket, I know that I can pretty much make it happen. So that's definitely.
Wait, can we just take one tangent to talk about what you've done to your Leatherman to accommodate your left-handed cutting style?
So I'm a left-handed person, so I've flipped my Leatherman, but I also recently I've 3D printed a thumb stud for my Leatherman, which was kind of fun. So
Wild.
starting to mod them,
Yeah, some Leathermans, they're not really built for the lefty community. It's hard for them to open them one-handed. So
We're freaks. It's fine.
I know, it's hard for all the lefties. Mine go to, I don't know if it's, I guess it's old school, Joe Sticky. I always need my Joe Sticky tape and
I
zip
don't know
ties.
him.
Yeah, you do. It's called butyl. It's like that double-sided tape that comes in the, yes. If you have Joe Sticky, you can do anything. And zip ties too. I always need zip ties and scissors.
We could probably, so the next challenge, the next thing I want to do here, we're going to create a short film using only the gear that you guys mentioned.
Yeah, right.
None of
We
us
might
said
need a
camera.
camera.
Anything in the
How's
building.
that?
You can use anything.
No, but we were talking a little old school. You said something earlier that I really liked, that it's about the director's monitor. Why don't you tell them why you thought that was a really cool tool? Not, it's a piece of tech gear, but
Yeah.
for a different reason, maybe why it might be important.
Originally, I was going to say director's monitor here, but you guys were inspiring me, so I was like, plastic, that's pretty good too. I'm a people guy. Filmmaking is a collaborative sport; it's a team sport, and I love director's monitors. We got a little bit of technology here, but to me, it's not about the technology or the tool, but it's about what that tool does, and it allows for decision making and departments to work together to come up with solutions. So for me, I always have a director's monitor, one, because I'm a little bit insecure of the way that I'm making art. And if I can put something up there where someone can call me on my bullshit or, tweak things or make improvements or offer suggestions, it allows all of us to work together better. So big fan of director's
I
monitor.
really liked that answer earlier, which is why I brought it up. Just because in any aspect of filmmaking, the collaboration on set and filmmaking is 100% what makes this industry work. And the gear is just there to make that easier for us. Whether it's a piece of plastic or a zip tie or something like a brand new fancy camera with this crazy sensor and DMX controlled lighting, it's going to help make everybody's job easier. And the cooler all those people are together, it makes a better, project. So that being said, I do want to kind of turn it to some of those newer things and talk about some of the kind of emerging technologies in the production world that are kind of changing the way we do things. So the production landscape's always evolving. When I was in school, not to age myself, but people were still like, oh, it'll never go digital. It's going to be film forever. So we've weathered all these sort of changes, and I think we're on the kind of brink of another one of those changes now. So I just want to kind of talk about, from you guys who know, because I don't really know, what some of those maybe game-changing advances in the cameras, lighting, like motion control, or virtual production and live streaming, which are kind of both big things that are emerging. So I know we've been kind of going down the line. We don't have to continue going down the line. The cool side and the strong side, the beard side and cool side. Anyone can answer, but what's the most exciting piece of technology you've either worked with or have heard about or is on the horizon? And it can be like software that helps you design. I don't know. You tell me, what kind of new stuff have you guys been seeing on the horizon?
Yeah, quick honorable mention, right? The decimator.
Oh.
The decimator is essential.
Piece of equipment.
I always carry one in my Pelican. The decimator has saved my life plenty of times. I actually saw a LinkedIn post about it that caught a lot of traction, honoring and celebrating the decimator. And I think that, all of you have been in a situation where for some odd reason you couldn't catch a signal to something and you whipped out a decimator and it got the job done. So I really want to give a big shout out to decimators. I always pack them. I think they're essential for everything. They save lives. And I think they need to get that recognition.
Yeah, I mean, we've got maybe 30 in use here today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, but in
Is
terms of emerging technology, more so on the engineering side, component side, a lot of things that I've seen so far is stream decks, right? So stream decks have become like a huge tool to assist a fabric that's already pretty much set. So it's like a tool that makes your job easier. And at first, when I saw the stream deck, I was really hesitant against it because I said, well, you have all the tools here, you have all the equipment here. Why network everything and use a stream deck, to streamline the work? So I was very slow to incorporate it into my system. But now it's kind of like you have to, because most tech is networked, right? So now if you can talk to different things across an IP network, a stream deck has made it, very easy to do so. So I always use it on my shoots, whether to streamline my switcher, talk to multiple switchers at once, plug in, PTC cams, do presets, with high resolution switchers. Stream decks have been very essential. And they can do so much. You can program macros into them. You can assign destinations to them. Every program basically has some type of Stream Deck plugin that you can utilize for any type of project. And then if you don't have a program, you can literally write custom code for whatever you need. I was actually having a conversation with David. I don't know if he's in here, but he was talking about doing like a custom program through Stream Deck, and he plugged in the code through ChatGPT, and he's customizing a feature utilizing the Stream Deck. So I was very hesitant in the start, but everybody who's in the industry right now, if you don't have a Stream Deck, you're just kind of behind. You know, just customizing your application of how to execute with tools, and then also talking things via networking. So that's what I've noticed on my end as an engineer. And yeah, I have one in my pack, and I travel with it. So that's my big thing.
I don't know a lot of what you just said, but that I know that Stream Decks are a very important item here in our rental business. So
Yeah, the tools that have really emerged over the last couple of years, I think, is things enabling more connectivity, especially in like the lighting faction. You know, everyone's got their app, and with the more accessibility to DMX control lights on set, and, you know, you'll see gaffers walk around with iPads more often than you'll see them with a light meter these days. So, you know, it's pretty impressive. Where, you know, before you needed a huge team of people, and you know, one person would be parked on one light for the entire day. Now it's, you know, a smaller crew, but you know, you're able to be more intentional with the choices you make. You know, when you're working with a DP, you can kind of just be at their side with the iPad, and you know, you're just dialing your lights in. It just makes for a nice, easier, more relaxing day on set, as opposed to running around like a chicken with your head cut off. So I would say that's like the biggest thing that has improved my quality of life on set.
I think just to piggyback off that, blackout console would be maybe the application that I think is definitely a thing that's becoming an industry standard, which allows you to CRMX or use Lumen Radio to pair multiple different manufacturers of lights. So you could basically have an aperture on set and a Godox and all these things, and pair them onto one system. And I think it's like really valuable for workflow things, and to really speed up and make your lighting more efficient on the day, which I think, you know, half the job of being a cinematographer is lighting well, but the other half is doing it quickly, you know, because time is money.
yeah. So in this like live stream world and event kind of based world, it seems to me those things are more. Are you guys seeing an uptrend in like event based and live streaming
Yes,
shoots as opposed to
definitely.
like a narrative commercial or?
Post-COVID, yeah.
Yeah, you see a lot of like data pushing. So, you know, while I operate Jibs, I also did a short time as a second engineer out with LMG. We did a lot of ESPN shows, and there's a lot of point-to-point connection, pushing data, so we don't have to have crews in every area. You can do remis, and it's all about pushing all this data so they can control it from Connecticut, even if we're all the way in San Diego. And I mean, I got I don't know how many thousands of feet of, you know, RJ11, RJ45. I was just making Cat 5, Cat 6 all day just to run all this connectivity that happens. So you see it a lot in live events. I mean, even you get down to kind of how you see your first yard line on a football game. That's a tripod with a 4-pin XLR in it that is controlled by a computer. It's literally tracking the degrees in which it's moving. And all that data is getting shipped, again, back to Bristol so they can track, and then they can mask and put all the data that they want on screen. So this data pushing has become a very big thing, especially in live and events.
Yeah, it's kind of become essential, you know, as a career aspect to have like IT experience. It's very commendable if you take IT classes, because if you don't know how to network or understand networking, you won't be utilized in those high-level productions, because that's where it's all going.
Well, yeah, and I imagine some of those things, I mean, you can't redo the play on the football field to get it again if that data doesn't go or if something doesn't work. So the gear would probably be pretty important to be reliable, right? Yeah, that's nuts. What about, like, we have this giant wall behind us. Have any of you had any experience working, lighting, kind of incorporating, like, a shoot with some virtual production going on? I know that a lot of times people will use it as a screen, almost like a backdrop just for like a floating logo or something. But I'm more interested in kind of Have you guys been on any sort of shoots or productions where they're maybe utilizing Unreal or trying to use the wall to be part of an environment or be like outside a window on a set? Or
So funny you should say that, because I was just on that exact job a week and a half ago with Procter & Gamble for Tide, but it was at MJ because they have a wall. So they built a background, like a set. And then outside, it had like a window, like it was like a big, kind of like a corporate, it kind of looked corporate, but like really cool, you know, with like an orange walls and like a big window. And so they had a digital designer. I think his name's Corey, whatever, he built it. And so, you know, I don't have to have any construction people building that set, which is a little sad. Sad tear. Well, they had their set guy build like the table. So there was like this big tabletop thing that they had custom made with like a sink in it. And it looked good, it was great. And then just everything that the actor interacted with was real. And then I had like set dressing and props and stuff out. And I also brought like some live plants, which actually really made it great. I mean, they really kind of made the background like in a few shots. Yeah, exactly, seem more real. And we, even though it was inside, we kind of put a fan on one of the trees just to give it like this tiny little bit of movement. And yeah, it was good. So I mean, you know, instead of having anyone there like my girlies, it's just me pretty much alone because there's not any background to set dress or mess with or do anything with. So
were you
it's a little
privy
weird,
to those
but
designs beforehand to be
the
able to
client
like
sent
match
like
or get
a
some tone or anything? Or
yeah,
does it,
the
like,
client
show
had
up?
like a mood board ready to go of like what he wanted and like kind of how he wanted the set to be. He had a ceiling like built into his and all kinds of stuff, and it was like, well, we don't really need the ceiling, and because that would have been a build if you needed a ceiling.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, so yeah, they had like a look that they were going for sure. And like as far as all that was concerned, like I would usually on a job years ago or just a few years ago been way more involved in that part of it, but I'm not really because you know this dude built it in the computer.
And
He built it on the computer.
would that have been? Would that have even been a shoot that would have been like green screen before, or would that have been on location?
I don't
They
think it
have
would have
to
been green
find a
screen.
cool- they
It would
have
have
to
been a
find
set
cool
build,
spot
probably.
or build a whole set, right?
Yeah, it probably would have been a set build like 5 years ago, probably. And it's like a, you know, whatever.
So I don't
It's
know.
fine.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing that like
It's sad
it
for
takes
me.
jobs,
It sucks.
right?
Depends
Yeah,
on
it's
if you're a crew or producer.
And then, yeah.
It depends, right? Yeah, that's a good question. If you're a crew, it sucks because you're not getting the work. But if you're a producer, are you
Yeah.
saving money or
I mean,
are you
I'd have-
paying that out in
That is a
development
great
of
question
the-
because I don't know how much, you know, I don't know his deal. I don't know
Yeah,
if he works
Corey,
for
are
them
you
or
here?
if he's
How much did you
freelance.
make?
Where's Corey? Are you here? He's not here. But I do know that he said, I think it took him like, I don't know anything about this, you guys. I think he said 40 hours. Is that too many hours? Is that wild? Is that a lot of hours?
Meg, what do you think?
To
Is
build
40
like a
hours
big,
long
intense
time?
background?
No, it's pretty.
I feel like, see, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
Because
it
this
really
40
depends on
hours,
how
does
big
that
the
seem
wall
like a
is.
lot?
That's a good point too.
The programming, all of that.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure, obviously, about all of that. So, but it was just, you know, him alone for the time. And yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I would have had probably like 4 guys on that.
Yeah.
I will
Sad.
argue though, like
Sad.
when you're including the actual physical props in with the Unreal environments, you know, the more you rely on just solely going through the Unreal process or LED volume, you get diminishing returns. Like bringing in the real elements is really
true.
what sells it. It's what makes it feel more real. You know, this with nothing else in it it might as well be a green screen or just a painted backdrop. You know? So like the elements of from a lighting standpoint, this is way more reactive within the scene that you're actually filming, and you can get some great effects that you would not be able to do with sole green screen.
And I bet they were glad you brought those plants, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was something they asked for too. Like, you know, we knew we wanted some to, yeah, but yeah, it was good. They were good. They were a good thing.
Added a
It's funny
lot.
too, because weren't, TJ, I think, didn't I work with you on that pen fed thing last spring? Weren't you there? In like some
Sure.
cars on a track? Just
Sounds
another,
right.
just as if we're on this topic really quickly, like this company had contacted me to maybe build like a drive up ATM and then like have kind of like a box of an ATM, like an exterior that she could like interact with and like had me price it out. And that's how it's been like the last few years. And so I, you know, call around, I price it out. And then they get back to me and they're like, oh, we're just gonna build that in post. We're just gonna like put a fake, we're just gonna have her like drive through and then we're just gonna like put it in there. It's like, oh, okay, sad. Yeah. Sad again. Let me cry a tear. So yeah.
And now the new move
And
is
now,
to try
since
to
they can do that, I mean,
hey,
why
we'll just
not?
make
Like,
AI
can't they
build
just
the
do
whole
whatever?
thing
I
in
know.
post, you know?
What?
the
What a
designer-
great segue.
The designer eventually is
Well,
going
one-
to
one-
lose
segue
their
to
job to the
AI.
AI.
I was
Yes.
gonna add.
And here we are into
I was gonna
AI.
add one point real quick
Yeah,
here.
keep. Okay,
So-
Beard
so-
Side. We
Love
we
it,
got
love
you.
it.
We got
So
you.
one of the things here is like there's the financial decisions of all this, but really it's the people thing. I'm always going to come back to people. You can do things on green screen, you can do things on this LED wall, but making things with other people is also a piece of this too. I have a friend who does a lot of Unreal Engine work. He's been absolutely miserable. He makes a ton of money doing Unreal Engine work, but he doesn't work on set with other filmmakers anymore. So while he's making a lot of money and he's making really creative things and he's able to like do things that haven't been done before, he's also miserable because he's not working with other people. So it's not just a money cost side of things. There's a feeling piece to this work that we get into. I don't know about you guys, but I got into this to work with my friends and to build things and to have fun and like you learn from other people. There are times when it makes sense to do a green screen or to do something to save time. But there are other times where I'm like, what's the story we're trying to tell? How are we trying to do this? Would we rather have a 16-hour day or would we rather have an 8-hour day? So green screen can be valuable. This can be valuable. You know, at least for me, the AI side of things with like Premiere Pro on the edit, being able to do text-based editing, like that is getting faster and faster. That's allowing me to do more documentary work and sort through things quicker and be more creative with the story and not sort through a bunch of bullshit. So I think it's about learning how to use the tools the right way to kind of support our goals. For me, how do I get back to making things with my friends and take things off of my shoulders and bring it back to like, hey, this is the thing that we do best and we use it as a decision-making tool. That's just my thought. I love technology, but it can be abused or it can be underused.
I also think it's important to think about the context in which you're using LED tech because Unreal Engine is one component, but live events is also a different component. So live events are not necessarily trying to use the LED walls mostly for like studio aspects. It's more about presentation. So for them, they want to take their ideas and blow them up on a wall like this, right? So they're not trying to make a studio environment. They're trying to take the concept of where the visuals of where their company is going and show them and present them in a large demographic of individuals. So if you're doing a wall like that, you know, you're bringing in 600 tiles and you're building it. It usually takes 2 to 3 days. You have a crew of at least 10 to 20 people coming in, and then you have to have a Resolume or a disguise operator come in, create content for that as well. And then you're doing presentations with pips, with motion, whether it's starting motion from one end of the screen to the other, transitions, things of that nature. So LED is a big world, right? There's one side is studio and marketing and having that in-house feel, and then the other side is like arenas and venues and really just trying to project the visuals of what a company's trying to do. So in that aspect, I think LED is really blowing up because you need great LED techs. You need guys that can come in, build that 600 tile wall, right, in a day, you know, spec it out, make sure everything works. You know, I'm actually getting ready to do a really big wall for David Guetta here in Orlando. It's a massive wall, team of like 200 people is on it, right? So that's a lot of work for a lot of people, you know. So and then if a tile breaks down, somebody's got to climb up there and change the tile, you know. So I think LED is very versatile. Like it just really depends on what the execution is, and it depends on what lens you're looking at it through as well. Because right now, if you're going to a concert, if you're going to a live event, guaranteed it's LED over projection.
I mean, it kind of brings up like it sounds to me like very much like when there was that shift from film to digital, like shooting. The jobs are gonna leave and go, but it just kind of shifts because now there is the work of people like a DIT and not doing film loading. You know, so like. I do like what I took out of that is that, yeah, that stuff can be a tool. The AI, the LED walls, it's just another tool, and it kind of depends how you like use it. But the evolving industry is going to switch some of those jobs to different areas, I think, and we just kind of have to weather it. I think learning as much about all this stuff as possible is probably in everyone's best bet, but we touched on AI a little bit, and I know that they were talking about AI earlier, and pretty much it's impossible to talk and do a tech conference or anything without talking about AI. I do want to talk, if just any of you, and you touched briefly on the text-based editing thing from Premiere. I know there's programs like Opus AI, and a lot of people are doing podcasts now and using AI to cut their socials and stuff. Have you guys worked with any programs like ChatGPT or any sort of programs that help design or schedule or use AI in a format for this?
Tracks, it'll create emails, that I need to send, whether they're cold calls. I even created like a teleprompter or a telecall script, so I could, hey, here's a generic voicemail I could leave. Like, so a lot of the marketing tools I will use ChatGPT for, just to kind of put my words into motion. One thing I do like about it is I can, input what I need for like Ohio law. Like, hey, I want my contracts to say this, but I don't want it to oppose like, tax purposes. You can't tax for photo services in Ohio. So, I can use websites to create all my business purposes for it. In my line of work, I don't really use AI. I think I'm one of the, other than hard cams, I'm kind of one of the last analog type tool that is utilized in live productions, and it's one that we're always trying to be replaced, whether it's FPV drones, whether it's, they're using drones with AR now to do the logos and stuff, and I see that kind of ebb and flow where they'll try to replace, but then it still comes back. So, but mostly my use of AI is through, businesses, contracts, scheduling, billing, things of that nature. It's really helpful in that sense.
I mean, that seems like the kind of thing I would like to use it for, is old school, like busy work. Make me a spreadsheet.
Exactly.
Do the boring work I don't want to do.
Yes.
If I could get it to do my dishes, it'd be great.
I use AI a lot right now in terms of just understanding difficult concepts really quickly. I mean, speed's the name of the game, right? So most times I'll be in a situation where, like, I have a technical problem, right? And I know that AI can source a solution for me pretty quick. So let's say that I have, let's say, a projector that is acting funny, and I don't know why necessarily this issue's going on. So I'll ask AI, I'll give it the version of the projector, tell it the problem that I'm having, and then tell it to give me the solution that I need.
That's what we want Google to be.
Exactly, exactly. And you can even take it a step further. Sometimes I'll have issues where I don't really know how to resolve them. So I'll find the manual, and I'll upload the manual and say, assess this manual. And in this manual, find me the solution that I'm looking for. So, it can do that in like milliseconds, and it really helps me. So a lot of the times if I'm trying to figure out a problem, and I'll take different components, I actually had an issue here this past project that I did where for some reason my PTZ wouldn't factory reset and talk to my controller. So I uploaded the manual of the controller and then the serial model of the PTZ, and it found the solution in seconds. And I was able to figure out, what I needed to do for that particular project. So I use it for like speed situations. So I need an answer now, I need it fast, and I know it can do it for me.
It's absolutely great for that. Like, I've done the same thing. Like, I've uploaded my like Cam 8 manual, and I said, give me a step-by-step direction to do this, and bam, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're done, we're out the door. I don't have to, hey, is this the piece, is that the piece, rely on a bad drawing.
Troubleshoot forever.
So.
I got this new microwave. I bet you. No,
How
it's
to
too
use
fancy for me
Bluetooth
to
on new
use.
microwave.
I can only do the 30-second at a time thing. So, but I do have the manual.
Just hitting start 5 times to get.
You tell me how to cook my potatoes. I never thought of putting a manual in there and then asking it how to do something. That's brilliant.
I use it for recipes all the time.
Really?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm missing
come
out
up-
on this AI
Recipes
stuff,
are
guys.
like my go-to on it. I mean, from a filmmaking standpoint, though, we haven't edited or shot anything in the last 3 years. We've just been using AI to make every single thing. No. No, I mean, one use case that we had a few years ago was, I was struggling with coming up with the story beats on a low-budget project, and I just wasn't in my groove. And I uploaded my transcript from it, and I was like, "This is kind of the story I want to take." I have 3 interviews which one of these like sound bites kind of sounds best here, and it sucked. But it got me started. It didn't find exactly what I was looking for because it can't read all of that, but it does get you in the general place to where I was like, cool, now I can go through time code and I can work a little bit quicker. And it has been helpful when like Josh isn't on that day. I'm just not firing on all cylinders. But for the most part, I feel like a lot of the algorithms and the small things that are getting integrated into other systems has been what I've like actually been really excited about.
So slightly off, I use ChatGPT to create my kid's coloring books based off what he wants. I said, what do you want to color? And he'd be like, I want a rabbit riding a dinosaur. So I put it in the prompt, and it gives me the picture, and I print it, and he colors it.
Love this.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I've used ChatGPT for some bullet points before, and it's exactly what you said. Like, usually it sucks, and I'm really good at making things better. I've always been better, so at kind of fixing things, I guess, than coming up with them. So yeah, I like having ChatGPT write something crappy and then fixing it. It really does get you
Gives
going.
me a ton of confidence too, because I'm like, this is trash.
What about cool side over here? You guys too cool for AI?
I know. I feel like we're the not smart side. The smart side's over there.
I mean, the cool side's got sunglasses on.
Well, it's so bright in here. I don't touch AI, y'all. So, I don't.
You don't have to. Yeah, you don't
Mayor
have
does
to.
what? Yeah, is that right? Oh, it's not environmentally friendly. They're saying. I don't. So next, you guys.
Well, I mean, we can open this up for a little bit of questions. We have time for like 1 or 2 questions. Does anyone out here or anyone watching from home have a question? No, I don't know how they would ask, but yeah, we're live streaming this whole thing
right now.
and Josh said shit earlier.
He said shitty.
So, is there any questions? Does anyone here have anything we can relay or you'd like to ask any of these fine people? Well, I have closing remarks here on this, so ChatGPT did write this in full, and I haven't read it yet. We've got programs. Oh, wait, no, this is not the closing remarks. The closing remarks, I had it right, and I haven't read it yet. Well, that's a wrap on Let's Talk Gear. Big thanks to our incredible panelists for sharing their expertise, their insights, and their love for both the high-tech and low-tech tools that make our jobs possible. And of course, thanks to all of you for being here, asking great, no one asked questions, see ChatGPT. And of course, thanks to all of you for being here, for not asking any questions, and for proving once again that industry is built on passion, innovation, and an unholy amount of gaff tape. Hey, that was surprisingly all right. That's so I think that I think ChatGPT could host.
We've proven AI good.
I think that does wrap up this panel. I want to thank all of you guys for coming out.
These guys are right in the middle of the room.
Here with no moderation, that was super fun for me, and I actually learned some things. Again, I can't wait to be on set or work with you guys in some capacity. I'll probably invite all of you here to, talk to interns at some point. So, thanks again. Am I doing something wrong right now?
Don't worry about it.
That's a very...
I think that was my wrap up, right?
Thanks, Max. That was awesome.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Enjoy the rest of Gear Show.
There it is.
And these guys are right in the middle of the room if you come visit us today, and you look up and Mike, what do we got out here for their starting?
So today we have our 1600 watt RGBA WW LED bulb. It's an elliptic bulb. So think of it like a 9-inch. It roughly runs about 8 inch top to bottom, and then the equator is about 11.3 inches. I'm converting from centimeters. We're a French company.
Yeah, that's okay. I can tell the accent right away. Yeah. Very cool, very cool. So what kind of power units do you have? And how quick is that set up in the field?
So it's a true 1600 watt unit. The actual LED blankets inside, I believe each are about 450, and then obviously.
Do you have any extra screws?
The unit itself takes about an hour to inflate, and honestly, the actual build of the unit, it's not so much hard as like how much time it weighs. The time frame really takes from the helium hitting it, and that's where you kind of have the weight. You have one tank, then two, and then you're kind of teetering off in the third.
And you guys took a kind of a page from the Hindenburg and trying to go with helium, not hydrogen.
Yeah, that's correct. We try to make it non-flammable just because of the electric running through. But yeah, helium, it's an inert gas, it's colorless, odorless. Some of the beauties of it is that it's mostly used for right now, like medical. It's a centrifugal force to cool down like an MRI machine. I have way too much helium though.
You really do. The only thing I know about helium is if you suck it in, it makes your voice sound funny.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Man, I wish we had some of that. Hey, thanks for coming out to join us. Scott Handel here at the OHD 2025 Gear Show. We are going to be here until 7 p.m. tonight, and we hope you can come out. It's completely free. There's food, there's beverages, and there's a whole lot of knowledge here. And we just want you to experience it and be part of our community.
Hey everybody, thank you so much. This wraps up Gear Show 2025 here at OHD Studios. Another fantastic year. A huge shout out to our show sponsor Sony, our main stage sponsor Airy, and our live stream sponsor Sigma. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, feel free to reach out to us via email, on our social, or on our website, OHD Studios. We'll see you back here again next year. Thanks so much. Drive safe. Have a good night.